Well, hello and welcome to the show. Glad you've joined us. This week we're going to take a couple of horses at two different levels of training and introduce them to cattle. I've asked DeeDee to help me with this. We're going to have a ton of fun. It's coming up right here on Discovering the Horseman Within.
Gonna take a ride on one true horse.
So DeeDee's riding a 6-year-old horse. You've seen him a bunch. This is Deuce. He's a double-bred highbrow cat. Grandson on the top and great-grandson on the bottom. Really a nice little horse. We're just really broke, really got a good handle on him, and we're going to introduce him into cattle. He's a horse we own. This is a retired pony horse off the track that they've asked me to ride today and introduce to cattle. He's been used a little bit of barrel racing. He kind of gets a little up in the bit, and so I want to just take the time to kind of work him slow. And so we're just going to kind of, anything you can do, I can do also. Not better, also. So I'm gonna work one. I'm gonna take him in and work one a little bit. Then I'm gonna have DeeDee go in and work one. And we're just gonna track these cattle around and just introduce the horse to the concept of the cow and talk about mirroring the cow and body positioning. So what I want to do to start with, these cattle are penned back over here. So this corner is a real natural place for these two calves to want to stand. These calves are Charolais crosses. They're going to have a little bit more heat for their blood than maybe an old black Baldy would. So I don't want to get this horse scared and hot and jazzy by just running in there and attacking cattle. Already he's head up, ears forward. He's already, fairly nervous. So I'm just going to let him sit here for a minute. And actually, DeeDee, I'm going to change my plan a little bit. I want you to just ride in. And your horse is also aware that there's cattle, but just ride in and step in behind those calves and push them out that way. And as soon as you do, just let them go, roll away from you. We sometimes have a tendency to go ahead and step right into him and push him on through. Work to his tail. Remember when you're working cattle, you work to their tail for forward movement, their eyes for brakes. And as she does that, I'm gonna let old Bay, who's pretty nervous here, you can hear him snorting and breathing hard. I'm gonna let him come in and follow her. Let's step to the outside, DeeDee.
Okay.
And all I'm gonna do is ride away from those calves. And boy, he's got his head up and he's fairly wound already. So I'll work just a minute. This is a concept that I came up with really because of my dogs. A very good stock dog trainer told me, he said, Ken, when your pups are really hot and really want to go to cattle and they won't call off and they're really nervous, just take them back and put them in the kennel. And don't discipline them, don't get upset with them, just put them in the kennel and bring them out and try again tomorrow. So what I do with this horse, when he's getting wound like this, we take his mind completely off of the cattle. And we just come back here to soften up and pay attention to me. And bring that head down. One of the things that the owner told me when she handed me the horse, she said this horse gets really high-headed. So I know I want to work at getting his nose back down. I love to work cattle horseback. I do not like to look at cattle through a pair of ears. I want to look over the ears. I don't want to see them. Let's turn around here and just step right back into these calves. Okay, and we're going to push them back around this corner. And old Bay here, he's going to find reasons to be aware of everything but the cow. We're stepping back into these calves. Now just go to the outside, DeeDee, use your leg and just move these cattle, move the horse out away from the cattle, and we'll come right back in again. And I'm using Deuce here right now to settle the bay horse down. I'm just letting Deuce's quiet nature and quiet demeanor come in and help settle the bay horse down, and we're starting to establish a pattern of control, okay? So when I move these calves across this pen, like this horse wants to just go get to that cow now. He's kind of getting over the being afraid. So I'm going to take my left leg, my cow side leg, and ride out here around the cattle, DeeDee. And then keep his eye on the calf and come back to him. Now there's no hard rollbacks happening here, no hard moves. We've just got two quiet calves, and right there, my horse actually stopped on his own, and I'm going to let him quit right there. DeeDee, you do the exact same thing I did. Push that heifer's tail right up to the other calf. Start to take him around the corner. Then use your cow side leg. Take your horse out to the outside. Move him around that corner. Now use your cow side leg. keep him looking at the cows. Ride outside, get further, wider. There you go, get out of their flight pattern. Now stop right there. Those calves stopped. When he gets to that cow's eye, let him stop. He needs to start learning to rate. Now step forward and over his hocks and into that white cow's eye. Now over his hocks. There you go, right there. Okay. Don't come in too close. If you come in too close, you're going to get in that calf's flight pattern, and he's going to start trying to get out of there. You get in his flight zone, he's going to leave. Okay? These are pretty docile little heifers.
Do you want me to push them again, or?
What's that?
Do you want me to push them down?
Yeah, go ahead and push them back to me. Yep. What you're doing at this point is just trying to build confidence in your horse. You're just trying to build the confidence that he can push those calves around. So what I'm going to do is move Old Bay out of the way so those calves feel like they have some place to go. We're using the same exercise concepts basically that we talked about last week in using your leg in position number 2 to soften your rib cage and get out to the outside of these calves, right? Position number 2. Now when you go out and beyond, now stop and come back on position number 1 with your outside leg and bring that horse's front end around. And there is the movement that's going to turn him into a cow horse. You're just going to move around, and right now I make no attempt to sort these heifers apart. This is completely a confidence building session. That's it. Look at this bay horse. Now, Deuce doesn't really lack in confidence right now. But the one thing that I can't have happen to a cow horse, ever, I never want to hurry a cow horse. I never want him to think he's in a hurry to get there. I want him to have the ultimate in confidence. So I like things to start out very slow. When I'm ready to come up here, ride past these calves, ride right back in here, just like this. Move this calf back in here. And Old Bay is on the muscle. He's expecting this to turn into high-speed work. Right there. And right there, I love that. So I'm going to stop and back off him right there. This horse just figured it out. Horses are all bullies by nature. They are. There's an old saying I love to quote, all hard-boiled eggs are really yellow in the middle, okay? Horses actually love to be bullies. They push each other around, and they love, once they figure out that these cattle will move from them, they love to push these cows around, okay? So go ahead, DeeDee, ride in there and ride to the outside of that white calf again and set your horse up for a rollback again. Now you notice I'm not really putting the bay horse in that situation. He's just not quite ready for that. So all I'm doing is really working on his headset and just using the cows as a tool to get my horse better trained, right? I want to get him better trained. And again, we're just driving. My horses need the confidence of driving. They need to know that these cattle will move away from them. And when I feel like my horse is starting to get that confidence, we're just going to let him roll around. Go ahead and let him roll around.
Okay.
And put your horse's nose between the fence and that yellow calf's tail. There you go. Now roll back over his hocks right here. Roll back to the cattle. Use that exercise from last week. Roll back to the cattle. There you go. Now his eye, okay, when you come around there, one of the things I really want you to work on, you've got that cow over here in your horse's left eye, okay? And you get set, and you want to set about like this. So when this horse makes the turn, he's actually going to almost come out from underneath of you. And as he comes through that turn, look where my horse's eye is. My horse's eye is to the right on that calf.
Yes.
I never want to make a turn like this. Now where's my horse's eye?
Right.
Away from the cow, and I have to bring it back.
Yeah.
The transition should happen naturally in the middle. When you set this horse up, you bring him around, right there is the transition, and that horse is back looking at that cow.
Right.
That's what two-handed riding is really going to do for you and really going to set up for that horse. Now eventually when this horse gets broke enough, he won't need my help to do that. He will have learned, there you go, eye to the cow, there you go. Now your hands,
I don't have them all the way around.
you try to ride too much with your hands and not enough with your legs, okay? You're bringing this horse around. You need to finish the turn with your leg, okay?
Okay.
When this horse comes around,
Right,
that's
now
off
I was
your
trying
leg
to
and your
finish it.
reins are
Okay.
just redirecting his nose. And you can watch old Bay here keeps getting his nose up and getting kind of on the bridle, and I'll just stay with it because my leg is doing the hard work. The rein, I don't want him backing up. He's looking for excuses, looking for ways out. I'll just stay with it until he gets his head down here nice and low, okay?
Right.
All right, so this time what I want you to do is I want you to come between the calves and the rail.
Okay.
And we're gonna walk across the pen that way, and I'm gonna go with you just because old Bay needs the confidence. You're gonna come in this side, walk past these calves,
Okay.
and I want you to keep them on our half of the round pen. Ride past the white calf's nose. Now make that roll back a little further forward. Yep, a little further forward. Now make that roll back so as you come back to that calf, you're kind of eye to eye. There you go, and eye to the cow. Perfect. Now step over there to the outside of the white calf and just drive them back to their corner where they're comfortable.
So do a rollback back?
Just 2 steps over.
Okay.
There you go, eyes on the calf and drive them back over to that corner.
Okay.
So I want you to practice really keeping that horse's eye on those calves, right? So step to the outside, there you go. Perfect, you kept your eye on. Now your hands, you keep trying, go ahead and stop for a second.
Okay.
I can see which direction you're thinking. Yep, that's exactly right, you do this. You wanna get your hands down here and keep them down here, and when you wanna move this horse's shoulder over, your hand should stay here. He doesn't need you to do this. That actually gets in his way. You move this horse back, your hands stay down here, okay? Down here nice and low, you move that shoulder over, and when you bring him back, your hands stay down here nice and low where they can step in there and stop that forward movement, okay?
Did you bring some glue with you?
Did I bring glue with me? Yes, and I'm fixing to use it. All right, so let's take him down to that corner and set yourself up again.
Okay.
Now I love what I'm seeing right there. Deuce is figuring out what his heritage is all about. Those ears just came back and he told that calf, "Mister, you shouldn't be in my way." Reading cattle is a huge part of starting your horse on cattle, and it's hard to do. You want to think of your cattle just like you would a horse in the round pen. Pressure on their tail moves them forward. Pressure on their eye turns them. A herd works like an individual. Go ahead, roll back. Now, I want to see you turn those toes out. You're kicking sideways with your foot, which is taking the benefit of the cue from your spur away. Okay? I want to see you turn those toes out and work with your heels.
Is that better?
All right, yeah, that was better. Now you got to remember to do that while you're working the calves.
Right.
Okay? Go ahead, go to that calf and push her back over there. Eye to the calf, eye to the calf. I see Deuce looking slightly to the outside. I want to see him looking at that calf. There you go. Set that up. Right up there. Nice and easy. Now we're not doing anything in a hurry here.
I could tell the exact point that he looked at the cow.
You can feel that.
Cow, yeah, you could see it in the cow. You could feel it, definitely. So I'm going to go past this cow.
Yep. I would ride up a little further.
Okay.
And then roll back into that calf's nose. There you go, now step right to him. Good, good. Okay, now go ahead and stop. I'm gonna change your exercise quite a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, DeeDee, what I want you to do in the first session, we just spent, 10, 12 minutes teaching him that he could move those cows around, that they're gonna move from him. Now what I want to do, these calves are quiet, gentle, doggy. I like that. What I want you to do now, I want you to ride into their corner, and I want you to use his nose like a knife blade, and I want you to separate these two calves. I'm going to stay out here and kind of keep your yellow calf from going too far. I want you to take your white calf across the pen over there and then just bring him back. And we're just making his job a little bit more difficult. And I want you to really focus on keeping those toes out and using positions 1, 2, and 3 with your spurs. Okay?
Okay. So I'm separating the white cow.
Yep. Okay, perfect. Now don't crowd him, don't get in a hurry. The concept of the Hollywood gunfight never actually worked. Two guys face each other on Main Street. The first guy to go for his gun is gonna win. The first one to move is gonna win. When you're working this colt on cattle, if you let this horse get in too close to that calf and you get him out of position, the calf's gonna bolt, and when the calf bolts, the horse is gonna lose. So right here, she's letting him set and soak and settle, and that is one of the most important things you can do. All right, DeeDee, now set him up, right up past his eye. So you're setting him up to come back this way. Now roll back with him. Go with him and go right with him. And I want you to stop him, easy. I want you to stop him before he gets back here. So you are gonna have to pass him.
Okay.
Stay to the outside, get further out to the outside. Use your fence, pass him, stop. The calf stopped, right?
Right, sorry.
All right, no, that's okay, because you were stopping the calf, but once he stops, you don't want to go too far. Now, you also don't want to back up.
Okay.
Now, step forward and take that calf back the other way, right over your hocks, and push that calf right back across, go to his tail, push him right back across that pen. Hold that line, there you go. I like to think about a straight line all the time. When I work cattle, I work on a straight line. Even in a round pen, if I'm at an RSNC sorting, when I work cattle, I like to work a straight line. I'm gonna show you what I'm talking about here in just a second as soon as she brings that calf back to me.
Now he's not quite standing parallel, do you mind?
That's okay, don't worry about that.
Okay.
Now go ahead and ride up past his eyes and let that calf roll behind you, and you roll back to him, right there, and draw him back to his comfortable corner. Just bring him right on back. Perfect. Go ahead and stop right there and pet your horse. He did fantastic. That's absolutely all I need a horse to do in the first session. That's plenty, okay? Go ahead and bring him over here. One of the things I like to think about, I'm gonna pick this white calf. He's got a little bit more movement than the yellow calf. I'm gonna step in here. I like to think straight lines, okay? Square corners and straight lines. Square corners happen by my horse rolling back over his hocks. So I'm gonna ride back here over his hocks, and I'm gonna move this calf out. Square corner back to his tail, square corner right over here to his eye, and I ride a straight line again, okay? I never get sucked into following his tail. If you get sucked into following his tail, he's gonna beat you to the draw every single time. When I get, and I'll do it here in a minute, I'll push this calf out, and when I get behind his tail, straight behind his tail, I'll show you, he can go either way he wants. From here, I'm in control, okay? So I ride straight lines, push him up. Ride straight lines. Now by riding a straight line, even though he turned and was in a bigger hurry than me, by rolling back over his hocks and staying on a straight line, I stopped the calf from getting back to his partners. I'm that much closer to having him out of my herd, out the gate, out of the pen, whatever it is I'm trying to do with him, right? But right here, I want you to watch. I'm gonna follow right behind his tail, and I'm gonna stay behind his tail, and I'm gonna ride that crooked line, and he now has control, okay? That's where that riding that straight line, we're gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna take the same calf, move him the same direction, and Old Bay's just getting wound tighter than a 9-day clock, and that's okay. When your horse winds up, you wind down. You relax. Don't get in a hurry. Now this time, rather than holding behind his tail, I'm gonna stay out here and keep this straight line. And even on a horse who's lacking a little bit in control and is a little bit wound up, we will keep that calf from returning back to his partner until we're ready to let him, because we'll keep that straight line. I love slow cattle. If you don't have access to a lot of cows, go find 1 or 2 Holstein calves. They're slow by nature. Jersey calves, they're slow by nature. These are nice Charolais heifers or Charolais cross heifers, but they've been worked a good bit, so they're kind of quiet and slow. Slow cattle are really nice for starting a young horse or a horse like this that's a little hot and needs some quiet time. This soaking right here is critically important. The more soaking you can do, the better. So I'm going to turn him back. And then right here, I'm going to ride that straight line. So even though he saw his partner, even though he turned ahead of me, by staying on a straight line, we're back to where we can control that cattle. Go ahead, DeeDee, come on over here. This is exactly the same way I work my horses out in the pasture. All of our sorting at home, we don't use an alleyway very much at all when we're sorting our calves in the spring, or our cows and calves, our pairs. We do a lot of it out in the pasture. I set my horses up to win. I always set them up to win. We see the statement that John Wayne made on coffee cups all over America. Courage is being scared to death but saddling up anyways. Boldness isn't exactly courage, but it's awful close. There's a lot of times when you want to take a meeker, quieter approach, and you need to go at it boldly, especially for your horse's benefit. Your horse needs that leadership. And you think about it. If you're in a spot to follow somebody and they're not sure of what they're doing and they're unsure, it makes you nervous. When someone steps into a position of leadership and boldly says, hey, let's go forth and do this, that's what you're looking for. And you can look in the Bible stories when they sent the 12 spies into the promised land. 10 of them came back and said, we can't do this. We can't do this. There's too much going against us. There's giants in the land. Joshua and Caleb both said, we can do this. They were bold about it. They said, it's no big deal. If God be for us, who can be against us? You need a little bit of that approach in your life, and you darn sure need a little bit of that approach when you're riding horses, and particularly when you put them in with cattle. Thank you so much for joining us. We really enjoy having you with us every week. And until next time,
may God bless the trails you ride.
Find out more about Ken McNabb horsemanship at kenmcnabb.com.
That one true horse, the perfect partner built to ride. One true horse, a bond that cannot be denied. You would search forever just to have the chance to take a ride.